Let's turn my wall from this into this.
If you're new to the series, we are currently turning my old storage loft into my dream library craft room. If you haven't seen the first few episodes of this series, I will link them below, but basically for the last few weeks, I have been building custom cabinets with my dad in his workshop, and it's finally time for us to install all of the cabinets and put up the yarn wall. Take one last good look at this wall, because after today, it's gonna start getting covered with yarn.
So the thing about pegboard and pegboard yarn walls is you can't just like put this directly on the wall. If you screw this directly into the wall, there's no place for the pegs to go into. Let me show you. When you have a peg like this and you put it into your peg wall, see how it like comes out on the back side? We need to make sure that our peg wall is hanging away from the wall enough that these won't hit the wall and there's room to take them in and out. Hi Tilly, do you like our pegboard wall? So we've been brainstorming ways to hang this away from the wall. We knew that it needed to be between like a 1/2 inch and 3/4 of an inch away from the wall for these pegs to work. And we actually got the idea from one of you in the comments. Thank you, Lisa, for telling us to use PVC pipe. This is brilliant. So we just have these little bitty cut up pieces of PVC pipe, and it's gonna take a lot of these little pieces of PVC pipe. And if you're like, what is the blue stuff in the middle of the PVC pipe? We were trying to figure out how to get the screw to like go through it and hold it all steady while we're just installing it. So we've been rolling up just literally like blue painter's tape and putting it in the middle of our little PVC pipe cuts. So we're basically just going to be taking our screw and putting it through one of the holes that already exist on our pegboard, and then going through our painter's tape, through our PVC pipe, and then right into the stud on our wall. And we're gonna do that like 20 times maybe? We're gonna see how many we need to make sure that this is all held up really sturdy, because this needs to hold a lot of weight. I have a lot of yarn. We're gonna have the pegboard wall all the way to the ceiling and then centered, because this wall is 8 feet 11 inches, and then this pegboard sheet is 4 feet by 8 feet. So we're actually gonna have a little bit of room on each side, but don't worry, we're doing something cool with that too. So knowing that we want it to be centered, we've marked out where all of our studs are, that's these little marks are, and that's where we're gonna start putting in all of our screws with PVC pipe. Our peg wall is finally up, y'all. This is so exciting. I am seriously dying to just start filling it with yarn right now. And don't worry, you're gonna see this completely full of yarn in this video. And I'm so jealous of you because you already know how this is gonna look before I know how this is going to look. We have a lot of things to do tonight. Mainly, we need to install all of these cabinets. But for you guys, you already saw this happen in last week's video. But I can't move on to the cabinets until I hang up at least a couple little starter balls of yarn. So hold on. Okay, I grabbed one little basket of yarn. If you're new here and if you don't know how much yarn I actually have, it's a lot of yarn. It's so much yarn. One time a couple months ago, we went through all of the yarn just in my living room, and it ended up being 181 skeins. That wasn't including the 2 large cardboard boxes full of yarn in my garage, which we will be going through in this video and hanging them all on the pegboard. I'm so excited. Let's put up our first few balls of yarn. First one right here. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. Should I put them together? Should we start with like a little collage of yarn? Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. I'm definitely going to need to buy more pegs, but these are literally just ones that my grandpa had that somebody gave to him. So we're just gonna be using these for now until I buy more. We also think we might need to get shorter ones because like these are honestly like too long even for my bigger skeins of yarn. I think it would be shorter, right? I mean, you can't really see them sticking out. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should they be shorter pegs? Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Who remembers our moss yarn? Okay, I have to make myself stop. I literally have to make myself stop because this is gonna get too easy to get too carried away and I'm not gonna get anything else done today. Oh, I'm so jealous of you guys. You guys get to see what this looks like in the next couple minutes. I have to wait like a week. Well, hello there. You saw me about 2 seconds ago, but I saw you guys 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. Not gonna lie, I had some health things going on, got sick. I'm feeling a lot better now. And now I've spent the last few days trying to find all of the yarn in the house and in the garage. And I think I finally found all of the yarn I have. I knew it was a lot, y'all, but I honestly did not realize I had this much yarn. Now, before we can start putting this on the wall, we do have to turn all of these into cakes. Some of them are already in cakes from whenever we did the stash busting video a few months ago, but a lot of them are still in skeins, and we do have to wind all of these into cakes before we can start hanging them up. I cannot even tell you how excited I am to go through every single thing of yarn that I own. And if you're wondering about the boxes on here, don't worry. Only 2 out of the 3 have yarn in it. This one over here, this one has fabric, and oh my goodness, does this make me excited to go through my fabric, because immediately, look at that. Look how beautiful this is. I have to learn how to sew. We're gonna make so many cool things. Now, the big decision I have to make about the yarn wall is how we are going to organize the yarn. And I just posted a short about this asking for y'all's opinion because I genuinely don't know what to do. Should we organize by color and do like a rainbow across? Should we do it by texture and start with like fuzzy, furry, velvety, all the way over to, what do you call this? What do you call like the texture of just like this type of like worsted weight yarn? Non-fuzzy yarn? Should we go by size and go like 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever this ginormous yarn is? When I did everything in baskets, I did it by type. I did like acrylic, wool, cotton. I genuinely don't know what to do. And the short has only been out for like maybe 30 minutes. But so far, y'all are pretty much unanimously saying by color. A lot of people are saying rainbow by color. And then also top to bottom, organized by like size. Another thing I like the idea of doing is doing the rainbow gradient, but then top to bottom also do like dark to light yarn, or like maybe dark at the bottom to the light yarn at the top. That way in pinks, we'd have like the dark pink and then like the medium pinks and then like the light pinks. Does that make sense? A reason I'm kind of nervous about doing it by color, doing it like a rainbow, is because I think I have a lot of certain colors. I think I have a lot of green. Surprise to no one. That might be it. That might only be the only color that I have a ton of, but like, is green just gonna be massive? Is it gonna be like, ooh, some pinks and some reds and some orange green, oh, some blue and some yellow? Do you know what I mean? Is that gonna look weird if there's like so much more green? I mean, green is my favorite color. The other obvious option that we might go with is chaos. We really, really could have no method to the madness. We could literally just have it look beautiful. Try to almost spread out the colors, try to spread out the textures, almost make it look a little bit more kind of like abstract art. So far, I'm between abstract art and rainbow. I don't know yet. I think we have to start winding all of our yarn cakes to really figure it out. At the beginning of the video, I showed y'all that I had a bunch of these pegs that my grandpa gave me that someone had just given to him. I know I'm gonna need more than this. This is slightly over 100. So I did order more and I couldn't decide what size. So I got an array of sizes. We have some 4-inch, some 2-inch, some 6-inch. We're just gonna see how it goes. I don't think I have any skeins that are big enough for the 6-inch, but at the same time, I think there's a chance we're gonna have too much yarn, like way too much yarn. And there's a chance we might have to double or triple some of the skeins. And then that is where our 6-inch hooks will come in handy. Look at our little mascots over here, just cheering us on. They're just so cute. If you've been following along with this series of building my dream library craft room, you'll know that I am building a table for the middle of this room, but that it's not done yet. So this will be probably one of our very last videos using our tiny fold-out table. For the last 2 years of doing long form, y'all, we have filmed so many videos on this little table in front of the couch, and it is so crazy to me to think that we are finally building a crafting space, finally a designated place for us to film and craft and create and sew and crochet, and I'm so excited. But for today, we're still using our little trusty craft table. I am, however, going to be using one of my new chairs. I got 2 chairs for this room, so 2 people can sit on opposite sides of the new craft table and work. One of them is a rocking chair that's gonna sit over by the bookshelf side of things, so it's kind of like library vibes. And then the other chair I haven't put together yet is like a crisscross applesauce kind of chair, because I love sitting with my legs crossed. So I'm gonna use my old table and my new chair, and I'm going to use my electric yarn winder, because last time when we did our stash busting series, y'all, I tried to wind my yarn with my hand winder and it was not pretty. It was not pretty. If you are a regular here, you know that I've been struggling with nerve damage for the last few years from crocheting, and it's been getting a lot better, like genuinely so much better. I can crochet for hours again, not the way that I used to be able to, but partially that's because I realized I shouldn't crochet the way that I used to. but I can crochet for hours and hours and hours again. But literally, y'all, just using the hand winder for like one evening, my nerve damage came back with a vengeance and it hurt really bad. So I immediately ordered an electric winder. I love this so much. I will link it below if you want to check it out. Another thing I haven't decided on yet is the labels. When I have a yarn that is brand new and I still have the label, what do I do? Do I keep this label and then somehow put it on the peg behind where the yarn's gonna go? That feels like it's gonna get so complicated so fast. I don't know, guys. Is it a bad idea for me to just throw out the labels? Or maybe I take a picture. I could take a picture maybe of each label beside of the yarn, then I can kind of know what it is. I mean, this one I guess is kind of irrelevant because sadly it's Big Twist, which was a Joann's brand. So we're not gonna have to really worry about that one necessarily because I can't really buy more of it even if I wanted to. Except for rumor has it Michaels is buying the IP from Joann's and then we're gonna get Big Twist yarn. Has anyone checked that out yet? I like never go to Michaels. Y'all, I've barely bought yarn since Joann's went out of business. I miss Joann's so much. Honestly, I've been kind of on just like a low buy yarn year anyways. Obviously when Joann's was like going out of business, I did buy some more yarn, and there's been a few times when I've been traveling and I bought more yarn that I needed while I was traveling because I didn't have any yarn with me. But other than that, I have been trying to not buy a ton of yarn this year. I mean, I think you can see why. I've been debating on doing like a no buy or low buy yarn year next year. So this year I've been doing a no buy or low buy clothing year. I can't really call it a no buy clothing year because I can still technically buy clothes this year, but if I buy clothes, it has to be either secondhand or from a small business. So I don't know, I've been thinking about maybe doing something like that with yarn next year. I would love to still support like small yarn shops and yarn makers if I'm at something like the Nashville Yarn Fest again, but maybe I need to spend at least the first half of next year kind of working my way through the stash before I buy any more yarn. What do you think? Do you think that's possible? I feel like the clothing thing was so easy to do, and I made this rule for myself as a way to, one, encourage myself to make more clothes, but then two, to also just like discourage myself from participating in fast fashion. It's so easy to just order something whenever you think that you're gonna want it, and this has kept me from doing that. And it's honestly been pretty easy to stick to my clothing rules for this year. Yarn, however, I don't know if it would be as easy to stick to a no buy yarn year. Even a low buy yarn year would be really hard. What do you guys think? Should I try to do it and try to work my way through my stash next year? As I'm winding this and realizing how slow this actually is, I'm starting to really wish that I already had my TV set up. The idea is that eventually we're gonna hang a TV from the ceiling right over the balcony, so when I'm sitting here crafting, I can turn the TV on if I want. But I can, however, kind of see the TV in my living room since this little loft area like overlooks my living room. So I'm going to throw on Gilmore Girls because I've seen it a million times. 'Tis the season, it is fall. Gotta rewatch Gilmore Girls every fall. And since I've seen it so many times, it's basically memorized. Even if I can't fully see it, I can still hear it from here. And I still know what's happening in every scene since I basically have it memorized. So I'm gonna throw on Gilmore Girls and I'm gonna start winding and winding and winding all this yarn. I have to pause yarn winding for 1 second to show you. Frog! Little frog. I'm half asleep. It has been hours and hours and hours. And here's where we're at. Here in my rocking chair are all of the things of yarn that are too small, I think, to be hung on our yarn wall. I think I'm gonna put these in my cookie jar. I have a mushroom cookie jar. I think I'm gonna sit on my counter and have like the teeny tiny like scrap balls of yarn. This is the pile of yarn. I still have to wind. Y'all, it's Friday night. It's 1:30 a.m. Saturday morning, technically. This video comes out Monday. We have so much more winding to do tomorrow. Over here, we have this bag and this bag full of works in progress or like pieces of projects. I'll probably end up frogging a lot of this, honestly, but not right now, not in this video. If it's something y'all are interested in, I thought about doing like a series maybe called Frog or Finish, where we go through all of my like works in progress and we decide what are we frogging, what are we finishing. Do you guys like that idea? And finally, on top of the counter, well, we don't have a counter yet, but that'll be hopefully next week's video. On top of our cabinets, we have all of the yarn laid out. Y'all, I cannot figure out how
to organize this. So my thought process was we do the rainbow, like a lot of y'all said in the comments, but in the normal Roy G. Biv rainbow, we don't have black, white, brown, or pink. So I was thinking about having black on one side, white on one side, and then putting brown with like the oranges, and then maybe putting pink with the purples. I don't think that I like the black on this side though. I think I'm gonna put the black with the red over here and the white with the pink maybe. I just don't know, y'all. I have so much green, blue, and brown. Is this gonna look like a pretty gradient, or is this going to just kind of look like I have so much of the same color yarn? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. We're probably gonna end up redoing this a few times, but it is way past my bedtime, so I am gonna go hit the hay, and tomorrow we're gonna wind more yarn.
I'm about to start day 2 of winding the yarn. Hopefully tonight we're gonna be actually starting to place it on the wall, but first I had to show you my outfit. Y'all, have I ever seen an episode of Downton Abbey? No, I have not. But do I ever pass up a theme party? Also no. Never pass up a theme party. Y'all, one of my friends had a Downton Abbey tea party today to celebrate the new movie coming out. I've never seen a single episode. Let me know in the comments if you think that I would like it, because I feel like you guys know me pretty well and probably would know if I would like it or not. But immediately I was like, yes, of course, I'm going to a tea party. Y'all, there were crafts, there were cookies, we made flower bouquets, there was tea, there were cats. It was the perfect magical day, and everyone dressed up like Downton Abbey. So this is my best, you know, UK in the 20s look. How did I do? I did not buy anything new for this outfit. I looked up a bunch of like reference photos because, like I said, I've never seen the show, and I know a lot of them wear like little hats, and I had this little black veil thing that has the little mesh thing that I thought kind of worked. A lot of them also wore like headbands across the forehead like this, so I wore this little headband that literally I've had since high school. This was for a Renaissance Fair outfit, and I didn't end up wearing it, but I thought it went perfectly with this since a lot of them wear a lot of like longer necklaces. And then I really didn't know what to wear for like my dress, but whenever I was searching online like Downton Abbey outfits, this dress, this exact dress, kept coming up as like a dress that people buy. I guess it's kind of like in the style of something that they would wear. Y'all, I thrifted this dress a couple years ago for $7. So this was my outfit today, and I think it turned out super, super cute. But as much as I would love to sit here and look like I am just sipping tea on Downton Abbey while I wind my yarn, this dress isn't the absolute most comfortable thing in the world. So I'm gonna go put on some cozy clothes, and we're gonna get back to winding yarn. Do you guys see this? It looks like the electric winder should be so easy. And sure, it's still a lot easier than the hand crank, but it's still not the easiest. It gets stuck a lot, things spin off the side a lot. It'll randomly get yarn wrapped around the bottom a lot. But, oh, it's doing really well right now. Anyways, when I hit record, I was not even planning on talking about any of that because it hadn't messed up yet. But y'all, it is almost 1 a.m. And I told myself that tonight I would go until 1 a.m. I believe we started around 5 p.m. And we've just been going and going and going. And as you can see, we still have so much yarn. So much yarn, y'all. It's Saturday night going into Sunday. We got to get this done by Monday. Tomorrow, I'm going to start early. The last 2 days, I've started like late in the day. We're going to start bright and early tomorrow. We are going to grab a coffee or grab a tea, some sort of fun little caffeinated drink. We are going to wind, and then we are going to finally put all of the yarn on the wall. The thing I'm trying to remind myself of is like, once we're actually putting the yarn on the wall, it's gonna fly, right? It's gonna fly by. I bet it's gonna take me less than an hour to actually put the yarn on the wall. It's really just the winding that takes so long. Like so long. I can do this. I can get this done. This is so crazy seeing all of this wound yarn. It is just seriously amazing and beautiful, and I love it. And I still have this pile left to do tomorrow. I don't know though if I'm gonna do these big guys. Oh, hi Tilly. Ooh, play tag. I think she wants to play tag, so I'll explain this very quickly so I can go play tag with Tilly. I'm thinking that the big guys I can just have on maybe like the outside edges. Maybe have it go like thicker and bigger yarn on the outside edges, and go like thinner and smaller as I get to the middle or at the bottom. I don't know yet. I wound one skein
of that gigantic yarn. I think it was green. I don't even know where it is now, but oh my gosh, there's so much more yarn here than it looks like because it goes down into the top of the cabinets. Okay, here's the skein of the giant yarn that I wound. It just took a very, very, very long time, so I'm not sure if I'm going to have the patience to wind up all of those like really jumbo yarns, but I think that's a decision for tomorrow me. Tonight I'm gonna go play tag with Tilly and then go to sleep. I'll see you in the morning.
I'm gonna get you.
I'm gonna get you.
After 3 entire days of winding, I believe all of the yarn has officially
Been wound, and it is finally time for the part that we have all been waiting for, or at least that I know I have been waiting for, putting the yarn onto the pegboard. And that means I have to have made a decision, and I have made a decision, and I am genuinely terrified that you guys are actually going to be really, really, really unhappy with my decision.
Everybody take a cuteness look at Tilly to calm the potential frustration, because I'm about to change everything.
I know we were kind of set on doing some form of a rainbow, of a gradient, of having all the colors together. But then I started thinking about it a lot more. And the more I started thinking about it, the more I realized I don't think I want to do it like that. And the main reason is because as I use yarn, especially if I do a project where I use a bunch of the same color yarn, we're going to start to have gaps in our rainbow. And I'm not gonna like that. And I'm gonna wanna buy more colors of that yarn to fill in that gap. So like green, for example. I love green, it's my favorite color. I have a bunch of green yarn, and I have some ideas for like a green sweater that I kinda wanna make this fall or winter. If I start using a bunch of the different green yarns and they're disappearing, I feel like I'm gonna have gaps and it's gonna look weird, and I'm gonna have to try to pull in the colors from the side. And I think it's just gonna kind of drive me crazy. I think it's also going to drive me crazy getting the gradient exactly correct. So I had green going into blue, just like it does with Roy G. Biv. And I have a lot of these colors that are like almost cyan or almost like sea greens, just figuring out exactly the order that they go in tonally for them to make sense, I think is gonna drive me a little bit crazy. And lastly, something that y'all said a lot in the comments was not only dividing it by color, but also by like size or yarn type. So starting with like the thickest yarn at the top, thinnest yarn at the bottom. For some of these colors, I have different amounts of like thick yarn versus thin yarn. I feel like that's just gonna look weird if I have like a lot of like thick yarn of red. Like I've done a lot of holiday projects, so a lot of thick fuzzy red. I have so much more fuzzy red than I have like fuzzy white. I feel like it would just look weird and start to drive me crazy. So, like I do with so many projects, whenever I can't decide how I want to make them look, I have decided to do chaos. Just like my scrap yarn sweater that I am currently wearing, we are going to make a yarn wall full of chaos, which I feel like my regulars are at least not going to be surprised at all. I feel like a lot of you probably even assumed that I was going to end up doing this. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see how it looks. Now, I was telling Josh that I was going to do the chaos yarn wall, mix it all up, mix up all of the colors, all of the textures, all of the types of yarn. And I was telling Josh about my fear of not being able to fill up the yarn wall in a way that makes it look even. So I was planning on just starting on the upper left-hand side and just go left to right, left to right, left to right, and filling it all in. And I was like, well, what if I get to the bottom and I have way too much yarn? Then I have to go back in and double it in some places. Or what if I get to the bottom and I only have enough yarn to go to like here? That's gonna look weird. I'll have to move things around. And Josh had the brilliant idea of starting in the dead center and then literally working around it to fill it out. So I think that's what we're about to do. And I'm so excited.
can't believe it. I can't believe that all of the yarn is finally hung. This is crazy. This is gorgeous. Okay, that was a journey putting that up. I thought it was gonna be a lot easier to like tell how much I still had left and how much space I had left, but y'all, I don't know exactly what you could tell in the time lapse. But whenever I got the whole center part done, I was like, I have way too much yarn. I have way too much yarn. It is going to fill it all up and then fill up like 2 more boards. Like I thought I had way too much yarn. So I started doubling them. I think maybe like 1 out of every 5 pegs I was doubling. And then I kept going with that. And all of a sudden I looked down and it felt like I only had like 10 balls of yarn and I had the whole top still empty. And I was like, oh my gosh. Now I'm gonna have too little yarn. So I started taking off the yarn that I had doubled and placing it out throughout the whole board. And even when I did all of that, I still had the whole top empty. Now, originally I was not planning on hanging our super bulky yarns up there because I have not been able to wind them into cakes. They're still in the skeins that they came in. I wound one, this one right there. I wound that one and it took so long. It was horrible. If you guys have any recommendations for winding super bulky yarn, please let me know. That is not something that I want to do over and over and over again. It was not fun to work with. I wonder if they make like a super bulky like yarn winder. I need to check that out. But then I had the idea once I saw that I just had the bulky yarn left and I just had the very, very top left. I was like, I could just stick the super bulky yarn at the top all the way across and y'all, it fits perfectly. I tell you, I could not have planned this better. This is absolutely crazy that my yarn fit perfectly across this board. And it's like pretty much all the yarn that I have in the house. I do have some yarn pulled out that I have as a part of like works in progress. And then any small skein that I didn't think was really worth putting on one of these pegs, I did put in this basket. And even that, look at that, they fit perfectly in this basket. And the even crazier thing than the yarn fitting perfectly, I think, is how perfectly the hooks worked out. Out of 250 hooks, 3. We have 3 leftover hooks. This is amazing. I'm so excited. I've wanted to have a pegboard yarn wall for years, literally since the first time I saw one of these on Pinterest. I just knew that I had to do this one day. I know a lot of people worry about their yarn not being like perfectly organized. A lot of people in the comments were really concerned about, you know, like not knowing what yarn was what brand or the exact color, but y'all know me. Y'all know the chaos that I am, and you know that this is the best way for me to work because for me it is so out of sight, out of mind. If I put a project away or put a yarn away, it ceases to exist in my mind. I completely forget that it exists. So I think this is the best way for me to have my yarn. I'm going to be able to see everything I have at all times and know exactly where it is. This brings me more joy than I could possibly say. And honestly, it was a lot cheaper than I thought it was going to be. I think for everything, I spent less than $100. The pegboard I got at Menards for right around $20, and then I think I spent around $80 on all of the pegs. Obviously, if you need fewer pegs, that makes it cheaper. I think I showed you at the beginning of the video, I did have some old pegs that my grandpa gave me that someone had just given him, so I could have saved money by using his pegs because he gave me a little over 100 of them. But they had a really sharp edge at the end, and they were also kind of like rusty and dusty, and I was a little bit worried about my yarn getting like snagged or getting a little bit dirty. So I did opt for just buying all new pegs, and the pegs that I bought have these like rubber ends on them, so it makes it soft and less likely to snag the yarns. I will link the pegs that I'm using in the description if you want to check them out. And speaking of the pegs, I ended up going with 3 different lengths. I did a 2-inch, a 4-inch, and a 6-inch. I think the only reason that you really would need the 6-inch is honestly if you're going to double the yarn. When I was originally doubling the yarn, that's when I started using the 6-inch and it was perfect. But for just the 1 layer, even of the bigger skeins, I think the 4-inch is perfect. But then for the tiny cakes down here, the 2-inch was absolutely perfect. So if you're not going to be doubling any of your cakes, I would definitely go with the 2-inch and the 4-inch. You trying to figure out how to get up here, Tilly? What do you think about the yarn wall, Tilly? I had some people in the comments asking if she was going to attack the yarn wall or try to climb it, or saying that their cats would be climbing the yarn wall. She doesn't seem to care. When we first adopted Tilly, it was the era whenever I had the giant pile of yarn in the living room, and we just kind of said no, like don't touch that, and she honestly listened. So for the most part, she leaves the yarn alone. She does steal my hooks though. So let me know in the comments if you're a cat, if you have a cat or dog, if they steal your hooks or your yarn. Well, friends, I think that wraps up adding our yarn wall to our dream library craft room. I
I'm so excited at the way that all of this is coming together, from building the cabinets and the yarn wall, starting on the center craft table, everything else we have planned. I believe the next part of the journey of the craft room is going to be building the center table, or I guess I should say finishing the build of the center table, because as you might have seen a couple episodes ago, we do have like the base of the center table done, but we still have a lot of work to do on it, including the countertops. As I'm sure you've noticed in this video, these cabinets don't have countertops yet, and that is one of the next things that we're going to be doing in this series. We're going to be doing black sparkly countertops. They are going to be gorgeous and look like the night sky full of sparkling stars. At least I hope. I've never done resin tabletops before, but then again, I never built cabinets before, and I think these turned out pretty dang good. Oh, thank you for kisses. Thank you for Tilly kisses. You're very sweet. Thank you so much for coming on this journey with us as we build the Dream Library craft room, and especially this week as we set up the yarn wall. I know how much so many of us in the community have been looking forward specifically to this part of the video. I can't believe it. I can't believe the yarn is finally on the wall. If you're new here, welcome to the Sunflower family. My name is Hollyana, and we do new videos every single Monday. A lot of them are crafting or crochet or DIY. We also do Renaissance festivals and cat videos and thrifting, hopefully sewing soon. I really want to learn how to sew once we have the craft room built. And just a little bit of everything cozy and quirky. Hope to see you in the next one.
Tilly, let go of it. I've been bragging on you, telling everyone that you're not going to try to climb the yarn wall. And everyone thinks you're going to try to climb the yarn wall. But you're going to be a good girl, right? Not climb the yarn wall? Huh? Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it, little chaos gremlin. I know you're thinking about it. Don't do it.